Up to a third of the global population struggles with sleep dissatisfaction, and millions meet the strict criteria for clinical insomnia or anxiety disorders. For sleep issues, the medical gold standard is CBTI, or Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia, a structured program to identify and replace thoughts and behaviors that cause sleep problems. It is highly effective, but it has a significant barrier. A severe shortage of trained specialists makes widespread access nearly impossible for the average person. That leaves pharmacological interventions. Prescription medications like benzodiazepines and Z-drugs provide rapid, short-term relief, but they carry steep risks, including chemical dependence, rapid tolerance, and next-day cognitive fog that impairs your motor skills. Desperate patients are caught in a pronounced void in clinical care. They are forced to choose between a highly effective therapy they cannot easily access and heavy sedatives that come with significant long-term costs. While clinical care struggles, internet wellness culture has exploded with a highly accessible alternative. Influencers are heavily promoting magnesium as a miracle cure. They claim it is the ultimate solution for anxiety and poor sleep. This is bleeding over into real-world psychiatric clinics. Doctors report that patients are arriving already self-medicating. They are trying to navigate a confusing, unregulated wild west of supplement aisles and wildly varied dosages entirely on their own. We need to look at the data to determine what is actually happening here. We have to figure out if magnesium is a true biological necessity or simply an overhyped internet placebo. To bypass the internet hype, we have to look at cellular biology. Physiologically, magnesium operates as the body's natural relaxation molecule. Inside this central nervous system, you have something called the NMDA receptor. This is a protein that essentially acts as an alarm system in the brain, and it gets triggered by excitatory calcium ions that prompt your neurons to fire. Magnesium ions physically act as a bouncer for this system. At a normal resting state, magnesium occupies the receptor pore, physically blocking the calcium from entering and overexciting the nervous system. Magnesium also has a secondary function as an agonist for GABA-A receptors. An agonist is a chemical that binds to a receptor and activates it, and GABA-A is a specific neural pathway that actively promotes deep relaxation. Magnesium is a physical, biochemical gatekeeper. It directly alters brain chemistry to enforce calm in your central nervous system. A recent systematic review looked at the clinical data across multiple interventional trials. Out of 7 studies measuring anxiety-related outcomes, 5 showed clear improvements in self-reported clinical anxiety following magnesium supplementation. But there is a catch in the data. The results across these studies are highly heterogeneous, meaning they vary from trial to trial. The data shows the strongest efficacy specifically in mild anxiety, or in populations with underlying endocrine factors, like women experiencing premenstrual symptoms. The other critical factor is the chemical formulation of the supplement itself. Inorganic forms of the mineral, like magnesium oxide, are poorly absorbed by the body and primarily function as a laxative. To reach the brain, you need highly bioavailable organic forms, known as amino acid chelates. Treating a neurological condition requires a specific, bioavailable chemical formulation. Grabbing a random bottle of cheap magnesium off the shelf will not give your brain what it needs. To see if the right formulation actually works, we can look at an extensive 2025 randomized controlled trial. An RCT is a study design where participants are randomly assigned to receive either the real treatment or a fake pill, ensuring the results are objective. This study tested healthy adults who reported poor sleep. The researchers used a precise formulation, 250 milligrams of magnesium bisglycinate. This compound binds elemental magnesium to glycine, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter known to lower core body temperature and prepare the body for sleep. This line graph shows the study's core results, tracking the Insomnia Severity Index, or ISI. The ISI is a validated clinical tool used to measure the nighttime and daytime impact of insomnia symptoms. The orange line represents the placebo group, and the blue line represents the magnesium bisglycinate group. Over the 4-week trial, the magnesium group experienced a statistically significant reduction in their insomnia severity compared to the placebo. Looking at the trajectory of the blue line, you can see exactly when the compound did its heavy lifting. The most significant drop in insomnia severity occurred right here, within the first 14 days of supplementation. Through rigorous clinical scoring, this trial proves that a specific organic magnesium compound objectively improves sleep quality. We have to ground our expectations regarding the actual size of this clinical effect. In the bisglycinate trial, the effect size was measured at a Cohen's d of 0.2. Cohen's d is a statistical metric that measures how big a difference a treatment actually makes, and a score of 0.2 is technically classified as a small effect. Pharmaceutical sleep aids function through aggressive sedation. Magnesium, by contrast, provides a subtle, cumulative physiological support system that requires weeks of consistent use to achieve its full clinical effect. It must be viewed as a foundational support layer, rather than an emergency intervention. This scatterplot maps dietary magnesium intake against the change in insomnia scores. Looking at the blue data points, there is a direct correlation. Patients with the largest reduction in insomnia had the lowest dietary magnesium intake before the trial. This connects directly to a significant mineral deficit. Up to half of the United States population fails to meet the recommended daily allowance, or RDA, for magnesium. The RDA is simply the baseline amount of a nutrient the government determines you need to stay healthy. When you use the right, highly absorbable formulation, magnesium is a remarkably safe, scientifically validated clinical tool with minimal side effects. Magnesium addresses a foundational biological deficit. Supplementing the right mineral provides an overactive nervous system with the exact chemical regulator it requires to enforce cellular calm.